Hey guys, my name is Renee Lima. I work at the Urban Leaf in Bay Park. I'm doing my video on chemistry. The first thing I want to talk about is the endocannabinoid system, the ECS. The main reason I want to talk about that is a lot of doctors actually don't even know it exists. And it's basically the system that is the interaction between our brain and our body. That includes tons and tons of different functions in the body, but especially things like appetite, mood, sleep, and pain. That's a big reason why cannabis helps with, all of those different things, among other things. So let's go on to our next page. As far as cannabinoids, there are tons of different cannabinoids. I wrote down what I thought are the most important. THCA is going to be the acid form of THC, meaning it's raw. That goes for all of these other cannabinoids. The arrow basically meaning when that's decarboxylation, so either through heat or time, that converts into THC, which over time converts to CBN. And then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, with all these other cannabinoids. CBN being helpful for sleep, CBD being helpful for pain, inflammation, THCV, good for Parkinson's, CBC as well as CBG, both involved in pain, inflammation. What's also really interesting about CBGa is that actually converts to THCA, CBDA, and CBCa. Which again go to CBG, CBD, THC. So this is actually kind of considered the mother cannabinoid, if you will, for that reason. That moves me on to terpenes. There are tons and tons and tons of different terpenes. They're basically just the essential oils that are in cannabis, among a bunch of different other plants. Some of my favorite are limonene. That's going to be present in lemons, as well as the strain. Super Lemon Haze is a great example. Pinene, which is going to be in pine cones. That's a great example would be Trainwreck. Linalool, it's going to be coming from lavender. That's also in Granddaddy Perp. And myrcene, one of my favorite terpenes, is going to be in mangoes. That's also going to be found in White Widow. So obviously all of these different terpenes are kind of what give each strain its sort of characteristic in terms of smell, in terms of taste, in terms of the effect, which leads me to the third, I think most unspoken sort of aspect of cannabis, which is flavonoids. To be honest, I really only knew a couple flavonoids before I started this video. I actually had to look up a couple of them, but I did find some really interesting ones. Apigenin being a dopamine reuptake inhibitor, similar to like an antidepressant. Isovitexin, anti-cancer, antioxidant. Canaflavin, stronger than aspirin. Vitexin actually causes apoptosis, which is when cancer cells essentially kill themselves and die, and that's basically an anti-cancer effect. But I think the probably most well-known flavonoid is probably anthocyanin. That is actually what causes the purple sort of hues in cannabis. So if you have Granddaddy Perp or Purple Haze or any other kind of like purple strains, that color is definitely coming from that anthocyanin. So, one of the other, I think, most important aspects of chemistry is body chemistry as well. There's all this other kind of aspects that we probably don't think about when we're, prescribing cannabis or different cannabis products. Big one being medications that people might be taking, the time of day that you're taking cannabis. Great example, I can't have sativas at night, but I can have them during the day. Blood sugar is a big one, especially when we're talking about edibles. Hydration, I think, is a really, really big one too, when it comes to edibles and just consuming cannabis in general. So when people come in, they say, I smoked this, I smoked that, it just made me tired, it just made me sleepy, it just made me thirsty. These are just kind of some of the sort of aspects that we can kind of think about that might have affected that. Big one being brain chemistry, of course, kind of like we talked about. Another one is hormones, which sounds random, but it's pretty relevant to, our mood and how we feel. But yeah, so that's my video, and hope you guys enjoyed.